Hello everyone, and welcome to the first Sensei series in my new dojo. Today we're looking at guitar resources that I highly recommend. I'll put up links in the description if you want to add any of this stuff to your holiday wish lists. And speaking of the holidays, for the entire month of December you can get 10% off everything in my merch store with the coupon code SamuraiSanta, all one word, all lowercase. I've also just added a 3/4 baseball style t-shirt to the collection over at shopsamuraiguitarist.com. I'd be wearing one right now if Canada Post weren't on strike. Anyway, let's dive in. The first and what I believe to be the most important resource for any guitarist is a good instructor. A private teacher can provide you insight that you would never be able to get from YouTube videos or courses online. They can pinpoint your exact problems, and you also get to jam with them. One of the best things you can do for your musical development is play with musicians that are better than you. A good teacher provides this. So let's talk about what makes a teacher good and how you can find one. You want to be learning from someone who can answer the why questions. Why does a certain note sound so good in a specific solo? Why do non-diatonic chords work in certain settings? Being able to analyze things on a deeper level and explain them well is crucial in education. On top of this, you should feel inspired and excited to go to your lessons. Music should be fun, and a guitar teacher should project this in their teachings and personality. Now, in my experience, the best guitar teachers are often not the cheapest ones, though now and then you can get lucky. Google can help you find teachers in your town, but also ask around. Ask the guys who work at the music store, ask musicians you respect, and keep on trying out new people until you find the right fit. The next resource I'll recommend before we really get into the specifics is a notepad. I have a massive stack of them from over the years. This is about half of them. In them, I'll jot down everything from musical ideas to lyrics to chord shapes to scale patterns. It's also great to track your progress, write down things you want to ask your instructor, things like that. Alright, let's move on. I'm going to break this down into categories. First, let's talk about music theory resources. I've found that almost everything you need on this front is available online for free. You can check out my videos on this subject. I'll put links in the description, and there's also a website called musictheory.net with quite a lot of info on it. Once you've got a good grasp on that, I really enjoyed this book called The Songs of John Lennon, where it breaks down everything from the stories behind the songs to the theory in them. It's important to see the practical applications of music theory, and this book provides that. As well, it's also quite interesting if you're a Beatles fan like myself. Next up, let's talk about reading music. When I was in college actively working on my sight reading, I spent a fair bit of time with these two books. Reading Studies for Guitar by Berkeley Press, as well as the second book in the series, Advanced Reading Studies. They go through each position on the neck with plenty of accidentals and different rhythms. I also recommend you spend some time reading actual music, not just exercises, and for that, Classical Studies for Pick-Style Guitar has some enjoyable tunes ranging in difficulty. Moving on, let's talk about technique. I've worked on my technique in a bunch of different ways, but the biggest strides I made on this front were using Steve Vai's 10-hour workout. I first came across this in the October 2007 issue of Guitar World. Good luck finding this, however there is a book dedicated purely to these exercises. Next up are ear training resources. The ear is the most important tool for any musician, and for many of us it's painfully underdeveloped. I've done a video on this subject that I'd recommend as a starting point. Besides that, work on being able to identify intervals. You can do that using the free ear training software over at musictheory.net. And if you want to get deeper into this, I've found that the program Aurelia is the best ear training program out there. You can get it to generate melodies for you to transcribe, you can do sight singing, scale identification, chords, intervals, and everything else you'd ever need. I used this program religiously when I was in college and found out that my ear needed a lot of work. Another subject near and dear to my heart is songwriting, and I think there's a common misconception about songwriting that it always comes from a place of pure inspiration. Instead, we need to actively work on our writing skills and honing our craft. You don't just sit down and fire off a Bohemian Rhapsody out of nowhere. The first book I'll recommend is Writing Better Lyrics by Pat Pattison, which I came across when John Mayer was talking about how amazing it was in an interview. In no way is this a paint-by-numbers type of thing, rather it teaches you how to get the most out of your creativity. It was totally a game changer for me. Another book that looks at things in a similar way is Murphy's Law of Songwriting by Ralph Murphy. Both these books aren't overly expensive on Amazon. I recommend them both. And if you don't want to spend any money, well, good news for you, my friend. There is a free songwriting course at Coursera.org taught by Pat Pattison, who I mentioned with the first book. Moving on, let's talk about the music business. And while I think a lot of it you just need to figure out yourself, there are some things that are important to understand to best set yourself up for success. All you need to know about the music business is the best resource I've found out there. It doesn't really show you what to do, rather how things work in terms of royalties, record deals, etc. And if you're a fellow Canadian like me, there's also an edition just for us. And lastly, I'll mention a couple other miscellaneous resources I've found useful over the years. Freesound.org is a great free online sound bank. Whenever I need a sample or sound effect, it's the first place I look. Whenever I need to write out or arrange music, I'll use software called Sibelius. It's what I use to write out all my tabs. If you want to learn jazz, you need the Real Book. It has charts for all the jazz standards you'll ever need to know. Every single jazzer has this book. The other must-have for anyone interested in this genre is the Charlie Parker Omnibook, which has transcriptions of his solos and songs. If you want to learn the vocabulary, this is how you learn it. The books Zen Guitar and Effortless Mastery are great lifestyle type books that help you develop a healthy relationship with your guitar and your music, which is something that we all should strive for. I've mentioned both of these many times and for good reason. And lastly, if you're getting into recording, Modern Recording Techniques is a comprehensive guide to the theories and technology used in the studio. This is what we use in college to learn this stuff. It does get a bit textbooky at times, but it's full of important information. That's about it. Remember, it's what you do with these resources that really matters. If you buy a book and it sits on a shelf, then you wasted your money, and Lord knows I've done that many times. I put up links in the description so you can check out this stuff for yourself, and don't forget to swing by shopsamuraiguitarist.com where you can get a shirt like mine, available in a number of different styles and colors, as well as the all-new 3/4 length baseball tee. And use coupon code SamuraiSanta for all of December 2018 to get 10% off everything in the store. A big thank you to everyone who supports my channel through Patreon. Until next time, I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I will see you again soon.